Leo Kilmartin, and he's from the company called
Innovation 3, or what we're known to our clients is I3. Yeah, I3 Composites is what we've been abbreviated by our clients, basically.
Okay, I3, that's very nice, very simple. I3. One is about your superb charmed life. You're a surfer dude. And, and you traveled to find waves. I mean, what a cool thing to do.
Yeah, so basically, when I was younger, mainly that was before I was a business owner and an entrepreneur. When I was younger, I basically used to work for periods of time, save as much money as I possibly could, and then I would go to places in search for the perfect waves. Indonesia, some of the most remote places you could imagine, and then just go and stay there with the local families until your money ran out, and then you'd have to come back. And I did that sort of cycle for quite a while, up until I was sort of 25. And then my dad, who was also a surfer, who got me into surfing when I was that's how I got into it when I was a kid, is listening to my dad and all his friends talking about when they were going away to these places surfing. I suppose it was my peer group, basically, is what it was, just my surroundings, and that's how I got into it. And then as soon as I was old enough to go to these places, the first thing I did is get a plane ticket and went there surfing to Australia, Costa Rica, Sri Lanka, Indonesia, all Panama, lots of different places. Doing that. But then I got to 25, and my dad basically, just as I'd saved enough money to do a around the world trip, said that we're buying a plot of land together and we're going to build 2 houses. And that's what we did. We bought a plot of land and we built these 2 houses. So I had to basically grow up pretty quickly, project managing and building my own house. And that was a big contrast from anything that I'd done previously. It was like I learned a lot about myself during that period, because it didn't all quite go to plan, like nothing ever does, I suppose. And I learned a lot, and it definitely, I think that's when I then started to get the thirst for, like, hang on a minute, I need to start taking my career a little bit more seriously. And that's so I'd been building boats since college. I went to Marine College in Falmouth in Cornwall.
Mm-hmm.
And then I started to work all over the world. But like I said, instead of like doing the sensible thing like a lot of people do, is like try and climb the ladder and everything, I used to do a job, build a boat, save as much money, and then go surfing, and then come back, do it again, all around the place. And then building the house made me grow up a little bit, I suppose you could call it. And then since then, I carried on working in different places, and then I ended up coming to Mallorca in 2010, I think it was. Just before, I'd just been in the UAE in Abu Dhabi. I did like 2.5, 3 years in Abu Dhabi, working over there. And then I came here, and this was basically the first place that I'd come to where I didn't have to always travel for the work, because the work was here. All the super yachts and the boats are based here, and that's where they are. Whereas a lot of the other places I was working, I was constantly having to travel, which sounds really appealing, and it is. But after a while, you get a little bit bored of living in the hotels, living out of bags, not really. And I think most people, when they start getting to their late 20s, they want to start putting roots somewhere and sort of settling down. And I think that's what happened with me. Plus, then I just met my who's now my wife, Laura. We met, and we met in 2009 while I was working in Abu Dhabi. And then we ended up getting married over here in 2012. And then set up the company. I basically worked for another company here first for 2 years. Then I realized I wanted to stay here, but I also wanted to set up a company in direct competition with the company I was working for. But to do that, I had to go and get some funds. So I went to Italy for a year, saved up as much money as I could, and then basically came back here and then set up a company. The reason I did it was they just had, like, they were basically turning work away. They had so much work, they didn't know what to do with it. They weren't supplying a very good enough service for the clients. The clients were complaining, and then so I saw an opportunity. And to be honest, it all worked out well, because now I'm still on really good terms with these guys. Or I wasn't for a couple of years, because they got a little bit upset with me, as you can imagine. But then afterwards, that we do jobs for them, they do jobs for us. It's a little bit like we buy materials from them. It's all on really good terms. So and it's healthy competition, which is great. It's definitely made them up their game, and I look at them and I get inspired from what they're doing, and vice versa. And it's a good dynamic, basically. Yeah.
Fantastic. So just going a little 2 steps back. Laura, is she also a surfer chick?
No, she's not, actually. She's not a surfer chick. She I feel sorry for her, actually. Usually when we do go to these places like Bali or whatever, she spends a lot of time sitting on the beach, reading books, and while I'm out there surfing. It got to the point where now what I sort of do to get because I'm busy here the majority of the year working, and what I sort of like to do now is I tend to go on a boat trip for like 2 weeks to Indonesia with my friends, and we literally just go and surf our brains out for 6 hours a day, kind of thing. Like literally wake up, go surfing, get out, have some food, go surfing, do that, and then I get my fix of like the good quality waves that the Indonesia has to offer. Like you see videos or you see waves and everything, and you don't understand how powerful the ocean is until you go in it and you feel the power and what it does to you, and how it throws you around like it does. Like you're nothing. You're a little, it makes you really realize how insignificant you are, really, in the grand scheme of things. Yeah. But this is that's the tip of the iceberg with surfing, is actually standing up and catching the wave. The rest of the work is actually finding the wave and catching it. You've got to be in the right place. It's a moving object. You've got to be, you can't be catching it while it's too like this, or it needs to be just at the right time so you can paddle into it, jump to your feet, and then ride on it. So when you first start surfing, generally you don't really stand up very much, because you're trying to find the waves. It's sort of, especially if it's a beach break where the waves don't break in the same place, they're constantly moving. Whereas a reef break, because the contour of the ocean is the same, the waves break in exactly the same spot, more or less. So but obviously it's dangerous. You don't want to start surfing on a reef break, because if you hit the reef, so you'll start on a beach break, and then you've got to almost like hunt the wave down, find it first before you can actually surf it. And you spend a lot of your time paddling around, and it's not until doing it regularly, at least for a couple of years, that you start to understand the mechanics of how the ocean's working, and all that, all the physics rather, of what's going on, and then you start to understand it. And it's like anything for mastery, is Peter would go on about with all his incompetence, conscious competence, all that sort of stuff. It's not until you've spent thousands of hours in it that you it's like anything. The good guys make it look easy, but it's not. It's definitely not easy.
No, it's not, but it's super cool to watch them, which is amazing. So that is absolutely a good, what can I say, an adrenaline rush, where instead of taking drugs, you take that.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. No, for sure. It's so unpredictable. That's the thing. It's you definitely get your fix of adrenaline, but also I think you're in the ocean, nature, it's beautiful surroundings. It's ticking a lot of boxes, and that's why it's so enjoyable. I think it's like and I think that's why a lot of surfers are, I wouldn't really say hippies these days, but back in the day they would have been a bit more hippie. It's sort of a lot. Personally, I think surfing's lost its soul a little bit now in this day and age, just compared to like the guys back in the 70s and the 60s. Like one of my mentors, a guy called Peter LaSalle's Chops, who's dead now, bless him, rest in peace. He was like one of the pioneers, from Australia. Used to make their own boards, and then they'd go and surf their own boards, and then they were traveling, going to all these far off places back in the 60s, when when no one knew where it was, to Bali and to Indonesia and all that. And, you know, and then nowadays it's just easy for everybody, you know. It's like you have modern day surf tourism where you can go and stay in a 5-star resort in front of a really nice wave, and it's just like, it's not the same. And you know, you've got these big surf brands like Quicksilver, Billabong, Volcom, Rip Curl, all that, you know, obviously it's great for the industry because they've developed wetsuits and the equipment's really good. Yeah. But the downside is there's much more people in the water. So it like, and this is a good thing now where they're inventing these wave pools now. You got like Kelly Slater, who's like, I think he's like 12 times world champion or something like that. He's basically invented a pool where he's got man-made waves now, where so you can, if you can afford it, you can go and surf these waves. But there's a lot of surfers. So what's happening is the breaks in certain areas, there's too many people there basically, and it's like anything, there's only enough waves for a certain amount of people to go around, and then you start getting fights breaking out, arguments, and it's like got an ugly scene to it. So it's certainly not what it once was back in the day, kind of thing. Yeah. And another thing that I do to get my fix of adrenaline is jiu-jitsu, martial arts, basically. Okay. Yeah. So that's what I do now here in Mallorca. Like I train that like 4 times a week. Mm-hmm. Because I'm not surfing so much because of the business, and also because there isn't so many waves in the Mediterranean. There is waves here, but they're just not as the waves here don't get my adrenaline going, if you know what I mean. I go and have waves. Yeah, they need to be bigger. I have good fun when I go surfing, but it's not the same thing. But when I go and do jiu-jitsu, pretty much every time you step on that mat, you get excited, yeah, because you're sparring with other people, and it's and that's how I put myself out of my comfort zone on a daily basis. Also, it ticks a lot of boxes. You're getting the growth aspect of it, that you're learning a new skill, and it's basically solving problems under extreme pressure, because you've got someone else sort of, you know, trying to strangle you, or, you know, lock your arm or whatever it is, that kind of thing. So yeah. And then the guys that you train with, they're like your brothers, basically. You know, you form a really tight bond. Like, end up doing all your social events with you guys who you train with, and all that kind of stuff. It's That's
amazing. Yeah. So it's kind of like a good stress release in a sense. So you have very hectic busy schedule. Work, and then you release that pressure and stress with the jiu-jitsu. Yeah. Or surfing, or cat therapy, as well as you've got the 3 mascots.
No, the jiu-jitsu, like for example, last week I had a really, really terrible day, really stressful day. Mm-hmm. One of the clients was being, I suppose one of the things that Pete would say, he's being a really good actor, and he was being he's being really extremely difficult, and it was causing me a little bit of stress. And I went to jiu-jitsu that night, and I had the best training session ever. And the good thing about it is you have to be present. You can't be thinking about the day you've had at work or any of that stuff when you've got someone trying to, they're trying to strangle you, or they're trying to do something to you. You have to be there in the moment, and it's really good for that. And then afterwards you feel great because you've exercised, you've got all that, you've got your adrenaline, you've got rid of your testosterone for men, I suppose, and your aggression, and it's and then you shake hands and everything, and you go and do it all again the next day. It also makes you want to eat healthy food. You make better choices just because of it's the whole thing. It's not just it's the lifestyle that comes along with it. The sort of
Oh, great. So what brought you into that, since we are on this? How?
Basically, my dad's a martial artist. He was a boxer when he was younger, and I did boxing from when I was young also. And then I sort of drifted away from that a little bit more when I started surfing. And then I really got into watching the UFC, the mixed martial arts, probably 10, 11 years ago. I was working with a guy at the time, and he was like, "You got to see this. You got to watch this thing." And back then, it was regarded as like, wow, it's cage fighting, it's barbaric, it's this, it's that. And I was a little bit like, oh, I don't know if I. And then you start to watch it, and I just got really interested in the and then I tried jiu-jitsu when I was in Abu Dhabi the first time, and then when I came here to Mallorca to start, there was nowhere here, there's no one doing it here. And then over the last sort of 5-6 years, gyms have started popping up everywhere because of the UFC, and mixed martial arts is one of the fastest growing sports in the world now. And what happened is I trained for a couple of years, had a really bad injury. I dislocated my shoulder.
Yeah.
Then I went through the whole, I'm not going to do it anymore, and can I handle it? And I had lots of demons and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And then I missed it so much that I was like, I'm going to have to go, but I've got to go back, and I've got to, like, in actual fact, when I think about it, is what happened is I went to one of Peter's Sage Business School in Krakow, and I'll tell you the story. This is how it all starts to tie into the EMF and Peter Sage's. It's probably 2 years ago now, maybe slightly longer.
2019 or 2018?
I think it was 18. It was the end of 2018, and Peter did a Sage Business School in Krakow.
Yeah.
And I was going through a phase in my life where I, like, the business was stressing me out. It was I was getting to, like, almost coming to a crossroads where I'm like, I need to make a decision. I need to either call it a day, or something's got to change, because I can't carry on like I am with the stress levels that I've got and feeling like I'm feeling. It was just like I was basically a victim of my own circumstances. That's why I was feeling like that.
Yeah.
So what happened is, just by chance, something popped up on my it was either Facebook or Instagram, something like Peter Sage, this guy, and I watched a couple of his videos and listened to what he was saying. I was like, wow, I really like this guy. He's really really interesting. And obviously, like the Facebook or the Instagram algorithm works, then you're gonna see more of it, and you're gonna see more. And then the next thing, it came up that there was this seminar coming up in Krakow. Didn't think anything of it. Then my wife, her best friends were coming over to stay, and it was one of their birthdays, their 40th birthday. And I'm like, I'm gonna have a house full of ladies for the weekend. And I'm like, I've got to go and do something and escape. I'm like the only guy. There's going to be no guys there. So what can I do? And then it just so happened that this seminar was happening that weekend, and I was like, this is like one of those. The universe has sent this to me. What I know now, I'm like, this is like one of those things that's been sent to me here. When I actually look back at it, and I was like, you know what, I'm going to go for it. I'm going to actually go for it. I'm going to go to. So I put myself out of my comfort zone a little bit. Didn't know anyone. Went there on my own.
Yeah.
And well, yeah, I was just blown away. The first day blew me away. I was just like, yeah, it was unbelievable. I mean, if I'm being really honest, I got there to Krakow. I was on my own.
Yeah.
And I went and had maybe a couple of too many beers than I should have done. I went and had some food, and I weren't really drunk, but I certainly was not in the right frame of mind in the morning to be doing this. I had no idea what I was letting myself in for. I didn't realize how long it was, how intense it was going to be, all this kind of stuff. I just thought we're going to be there for a few hours. A guy was going to be standing up talking about some business strategies, this, that, and the other, and I'd take a few notes, and that would be it. And then little did I know that, yeah, in fact, I think one of the first people I spoke to was Peter was there, and he'd broken his arm. He'd literally he'd had surgery on his arm or something, I can't remember. And he's there with a sling, and then he came up to me, and he knew it. Well, I think he saw my name, and he was talking to me, and I was just like, whoa, straight away. Then the music came on, and it was like really loud, and I was just like going, oh my, what is going on here, kind of thing. And then that first day where he basically rewires how you think, it was just like, it was, for me, that was one of the most empowering things that's ever happened to me in my life. It completely, after that weekend, it just completely changed. It just turned my world upside down, literally, and he rewired it is the best way to describe it. And I remember he's got the EMF course there, and he's got all, the people there that have done it previously and all the rest of it. And they keep mentioning this EMF, and I'm like, what's this EMF thing that's everyone going on about? And then they explain it, you start to understand it, and then they told me the price of it, and I'm like, wow, that's, in my mindset then I was like, wow, that's expensive. It's not cheap, kind of thing. And then I was like, you know what, I spoke to a few of the people, and everyone all said the same thing, that it's not cheap, but I'd pay double if and that's exactly how I felt as well. I was like, if someone asked me about the EMF course now, I'm like, yeah, if you're in that way of thinking of like, I'd never really invested in myself in that way, you just sort of, it's completely, like I said, changed my mindset now. Now I'm like, I'd pay double that and more, because what it's done to my life, it's completely revolutionized and changed my life. So for me, it's like, you can't put a price on that. It's sort of like, I think what he was charging, it's not, he could charge way more, but it is, people like us need to get the word out there for people, and get people in that way of thinking. Whereas now, I don't think twice about something that's going to help my business out, or I'm paying that kind of thing. For me personally, and it's going to give me personal development, I'm invested in that, because I know how valuable it is and how much value he brings, and what the EMF course brings in general, and just the peer group thing, all of it is just, yeah, it's changed my life, really has, in so many ways.
And what specific thing? Because obviously, I think I remember the one you're talking about. That is 2019.
I'd never seen anything like this, and I couldn't believe that this guy had my attention like he did for that whole period of time, and just like I've never seen anything like that. It was just like and what I really identified with Peter is, I'm a little bit like him in a way, as far as he goes. I looked at it afterwards, and he goes on about being an indigo child and all this, and I looked into that. I don't think I'm an indigo child, but I've always been a little bit like him. I don't like authority. I go against I can see what's happening with the pharmaceutical companies, all that kind of, I'm more for natural things and remedies. And basically, my father he's a lifelong martial artist, but he's also a shiatsu and acupuncture practitioner. So he's done Chinese medicine, and basically Chinese medicine, food is medicine, and you take this food and it helps with this and that, and so I've been brought up with that mindset. So Peter is a lot like that as well, with a lot of the things what he was talking about. So that really struck a chord with me. It really did. And I was going there expecting like some, I suppose, like someone a bit more like Dan Pena. I don't know if you know who Dan Pena is, but like that. Nope. It's one of Peter's mentors, and he's a $1 billion man. And he is, he stands there in his perfect suit and everything, and he's really nasty to everybody, and he tells them that they're all worth nothing, and Really? Yeah, it's completely different sort of way of doing it. But people pay a lot of money for Dan Pena to be a mentor, because of who he is and what he's achieved in business and all that kind of thing. Whereas I feel like Peter, although he's a business mentor, the way he's gone now more with the EMF is more personal development, and it's got a more spiritual side to it, and it's more, and that's what I like that more, being a surfer and being in, already being into martial arts, that kind of thing. So anyway, I was getting back onto, I've sort of gone ahead of myself a little bit. I'll rewind it back to, you asked me, the question was about the jiu-jitsu. So
when you were in Krakow, because
so when I was in Krakow, let me just get to this 1 second. Before that is, I basically stopped doing jiu-jitsu because of my shoulder. Then I went to Krakow, and one of the things he got us to do was to write down goals.
Yes.
3 years, next 5 years, And one of the things was like, and a couple of them had to be like, to really put yourself out your comfort zone. He's like, I don't want goals that are going to be easy. And one of the ones was like, I really did not think I'd ever go back to jiu-jitsu, and I basically made myself go back there and sort of confront my fears and my demons a little bit, because of what I'd been through with the injury and everything. Yeah. So that was that. So I just wanted to get that back in there. But then
that's incredible. So basically, the Krakow kind of like gave you a business perspective and your own personal life perspective, and also a health perspective. So it's all three. So
yeah.
a complete person, basically.
Yeah.
Left all the
Yeah.
triangle, whatever sides were all
the best way I can describe it is, for the first time in my life, I actually felt like I had some answers to stuff in life where I just, like you just go through life, like you don't realize it. You've got no direction. You've got no sort of, you do things, but you don't know why you do them and how you've been programmed away and all that. And he gave me so many answers to who I am and what's made me who I am. For the first time in my life, I actually understood myself. And I started to understand people, and I'd never had that before. I was like,
awesome.
I'm into surfing, or I'm into this, and I do that, and and I had no idea why I did it, and the choices I'd made, and all this kind of stuff. And then it was just like I said, in the space of 3 days, I think it was, or 2 days. I can't remember how many days it was, but it was
3 days. Yeah.
Yeah, 3 days. It was just like I came back here literally a changed person, and
Wow.
my wife said it to me, and then I was like toying with the idea: am I going to do the EMF? Am I not? And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. Yeah, I went for it, and then that's when all the real fun starts and the real transformation really starts.
Wow.
When I did that, and it's interesting how that's also had an impact on other aspects. And like, for example, from the EMF course, we got put with an accountability buddy.
Yeah.
And my accountability buddy, Mateo Gonzalez, just so happened to be a business expert, business consulting expert.
Awesome.
And we obviously got to know each other really well. And then he basically helped me out for like 3 months for free, kind of thing. And then it was getting to a stage where he's like, look, if we're going to carry on this relationship, we need to, I need to get paid something a little bit for it. So, a little bit like that. And then, but by this point, I'd sort of realized how much value he brings and how, so it was like, not a problem. I'm sort of like, it was, and he's a friend now, he's a friend, but he's also helped me take my business to the next level, so it's sort of,
So basically this EMF, where it says Elite Mentorship Program, so basically you then linked up with a peer that had the same mindset as you, and then you grew together, or you grew more into because you went in having issues with your business when you were a seesaw type of thing. And then being paired up with just the right person helped you to focus on what it is you
I
had.
was, when Peter said, before at the start of the course, and he goes on about your buddy's the best one in the world, my buddy's the best one in the world. And to start with, I was a bit like, I'm not sure, like I think everyone is. And it's a bit awkward. You're not used to sort of doing like what we're having this conversation now, after doing the EMF and speaking to strangers and that on a regular basis and raising your vibration levels and your level of consciousness, it's second nature to me now. But before that, I was shy. I was swimming in goop, as Peter said, the good opinion of other people. So all these things that, you've got going on in your head. So then you've got to speak to this stranger on a Zoom call. It's a bit out your comfort zone, and it's a bit strange. And, and then as the weeks go by, you get more comfortable with it and easier. And then obviously I've really got to know Mateo. He's come over here and visited a couple of times and everything. But when I go back to, I had the best buddy. I did have the best buddy for me, because it just so happened that he's been doing personal development for like 18 years previously. He's done Tony Robbins events, all this kind of stuff, as well as the EMF stuff. So I got put with him, so he became like another mentor for me, like straight away. And now he's my business mentor, who I have my, who I vent off my frustrations. I get my help, my, and he just brings so much value, and he keeps me accountable. More importantly, is what Leo has been. He's revolutionized the business for sure. Or he's certainly made me do things that there's no way I would have done previously, unless I can run things by him, and just he's completely changed the face of his company, or we have together. I've done the work, but he's given me the insights and the mentorship basically is
and basically in a sense when you went into the EMF, you didn't know, so this is like a random thing, so it's not like you knew, isn't it? So it's
no, it's completely it's the peer group thing. Like Peter says, the power of the peer group, it's unbelievable. That power of the peer group, of those people in that group, it's like like-minded people that I look up to, people that I'm inspired by, that you sort of, because let's face it, in nothing against, there's a lot of people just generally, they're going about the business, they've not really got any aspirations, they don't really like exactly like I was before. Although I'd set up my own business, I was in that stage of buy me. That's exactly what Peter goes on about, and that's where I was. I'd gone from being a victim to being by me, and I was exhausted. I was swimming upstream and I wasn't getting anywhere, and something needed to change. And that's what it was with that. It's how he puts it all across, is just in a way that is so, you can just comprehend it all so easily. His way of teaching is just like, it's because it's revolutionary. I'll be honest, if I'm interested in something, I'll learn. Like if it's martial arts, jiu-jitsu, I want to learn that. You've got me. I'm going to learn that. But if it's certain, like, although I want to learn about business, I don't really want to hear about marketing, this and that strategy. Like this kind of thing. I'm not like it's not me. I'd rather employ someone to be an expert in that, and employ someone to be an expert in that, and I'll be, but. It's just the personal things. I find it fascinating, learning about the why you do things a certain way, choices, and the psychology behind everything and all that kind of stuff. It's just programming. Yeah, it's the programming. I feel it's a little bit like having a cheat code on a computer game, with like having this kind of thing. All of a sudden now I go into certain situations knowing that how to approach it, because like the archetype thing that he goes on about, the different archetypes. If I'm going into negotiations now, I'm not going in there as a warrior into business negotiations. Now I'm thinking, right, I need to harness the wizard, it needs to come out, the magician. I need to be more like that, and more sort of, or the fox rather, and be a bit more sort of
That's amazing. And so now you've stopped chasing the white rabbit.
Yes. Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Amazing.
We just recently built a boat, and we've also launched a product range at the Palma Super Yacht Show that was just gone in June. And a year prior to that, it was like a big goals that we sort of, when Peter goes on about goals, that you're thinking, how the hell am I going to do this?
Yeah.
It was one of those scenarios with this. Like when what happened was, we had a barbecue with all the team, and I basically had all these plans.
Yeah.
We had a barbecue, and I announced it to everyone, and I could see everyone was just like, okay, yeah, whatever. Yeah, you're dreaming kind of thing, and we actually managed to pull it off. I mean, and everyone worked so hard, and we it was one of those where I had a lot of stressful days, a lot of stressful nights, working out how I'm going to get the funds, how I'm going to get the money to do this, how I'm going to do that. As Peter would say, you don't need money, you need a better strategy. And there was a lot of that going on. And I have to say, I definitely harnessed and tapped into the universe for so many aspects of that, where I was basically trading with people, this for that and that and that, and I'll just being a wheeler dealer basically, which I've never really done, and it just completely got me out of that mindset of like, oh, we can't afford this and we can't do that and and all that, to okay, we're doing it, this is what's happening, it's going forward, and then we'll work out a plan. I don't know how we're going to do it, but we're going to do it. And
all because of the Sage business and EMF. You learned about, you don't need money, you need a better strategy.
And also how you do it is none of your business. just you're going to do it kind of thing. And I was like, the why, as long as the why is important enough, the how is none of your business, as he says.
That's it.
And I'm driving to work every morning listening to all this as I'm like, in the car driving and all that. And this is what, yeah. So like you said, it was a combination of Matteo helping with certain aspects, but certainly the main aspect as well is the EMF, just to give you that confidence, give you that sort of assurance. Yeah, I mean, so last year that's just gone, that's when I did the EMF. I did EMF 7, I think I was EMF 7.
Okay.
I think it was 7. Yeah, just yeah.
EMF.
I just did EMF as far as I'm concerned, but I think it was EMF 7. And then we were also building the boat, launching the products, as well as trying to go through the busiest period of the year, as well as having COVID happening. It was like it was a whirlwind 18 months that I've had. The last 18 months has just been absolutely crazy, and there's no way I would have got out of that time with my sanity unless I'd done the EMF. That's it. It's like I said,
the EMF prepared you for any life eventuality like COVID or so anything now can strike you, and you'll still stay on your surfer board.
Yeah, exactly that. You just anchored, and having those chats during the EMF was, I do feel that I was like, wow, I'm so blessed to be doing this course now with all this that's going on in the world, because if I hadn't have done this now, I know I would have, because to start with, it really started to affect our company. I was starting to get really stressed. I was, it was like everyone, any business owner during that period. And luckily for us, we were right in the middle of doing the EMF. So we were speaking to Peter every week, so we're getting his take on things and what's going on in the world and all that. And it was just like so reassuring to hear that and to hear everyone else's input and that. And it was like, it's sort of like, I wouldn't like to say that I ever felt smug or sort of arrogant, but it sort of just gave me like a type of confidence that I've never had before in my life. That's what it's done. It's done that. It's not like it's not an arrogance, it's not a confidence, but it's almost like it's just you're definitely a lot more sure about things than you were previously, and when you're not, you don't care. You actually embrace it. I embrace the uncertainty now. I love it. I'm like, okay, well, what's going to happen now? Then we're not sure. And yeah, that's it. It's
And also it's almost like basically catching those giant waves. So it's not like a normal wave, it's like a tornado wave.
Yeah.
You weren't scared of it, you rode it.
Yeah, that's it. Exactly that. Yeah, completely that. It's but there's no way I would have been able to deal with any of that stuff if I'd not had Peter's teachings. And I can't recommend Peter Sage and the EMF and the Inside Track. I'm just looking at the book behind you.
So that's, I guess you felt the benefit of this EMF thing.
Yeah.
Program that is not just buying the program, whatever the cost is, it's a lifetime. So you might pay, I don't know, let's just give it a number, £100 or whatever, but that £100 is not just for that 6 months, it's for life. So it's like for the rest of your life you've got these people.
Exactly. Yeah, it's invaluable. It's priceless. Really, it really is. Yeah.
Absolutely. So just going back then, because I think you said something about you had like an issue in your life. So I've had here one of the questions that was there a particular life-changing event in your life that made you want to seek professional coaching, which is why you went to Peter Sage? So you mentioned just briefly that you had this seesaw with your business and stuff like that. So I didn't know if you wanted to delve into that or it was too personal, and then we can just move on.
No, it was no, exactly that. It was the like I said before, I just was a stage of the business where I was just a bit disillusioned with it and feeling stressed out all the time and not enjoying it. I'd gone from being a business owner, setting up my own, being a really sort of enthusiastic young entrepreneur to I just got into victim mode and I didn't realize it. There's what had happened. Poor me. All my staff are no good. They're useless. They don't understand how stressed I am, and and all, you know, the story, the victim stuff. And it was that, and I didn't realize it. And then, and then, like I said, just by chance, it was like the universe has thrown it there. Here you are. It's there if you want it. But are you acknowledging it? And yeah, Peter Sage came up on my news feed or on Instagram, whatever it was, and then it just so happened to coincide with my wife's friends coming and visiting, and I didn't want to be there, so it was like the stars aligned kind of thing, you know. It was like one of those things, and now I look back at that and go, wow, you know, that was at the time, it was not a very significant thing at all. You know, I could have scrolled past Peter Sage and not actually seen the video or whatever. And at that time, and but there you go. That's a big believer in the universe and how it works. And, you know, and I'm a massive believer now. I mean, I'm not religious. But now after doing the EMF, it's made me, I definitely believe in there is a higher power. You know, I never did. I have faith now, you know. I think because of religion, how it is, and all the different religions and all the suffering it's caused in the world, and, you know, all that sort of stuff. I'm just not really I've just not been brought up religious, and I'm not a religious person. But since doing this now, I look at life completely differently. I have this, I have faith that the universe is not out to get me; it's actually out to help me. And whatever I put out there, I'm going to receive back. If I'm throwing out negativity, I'm going to get more negativity. If I'm putting out positivity and doing good deeds for people and helping people and, you know, this kind of stuff, I'm going to get more of the same. And this is how it works. It really is. There's no, you know, so yeah, it like I said, when it changed, when he goes on about, what does he say? He goes, you're going to get transformation, not information, because we are, and it's so true. We're swimming in information in this day and age because you know, the internet's there. You can research this, research that, But the stuff that Peter teaches you, it transforms you. It rewires you, how you think, and that is, well, yeah. There's nothing else like that.
That is awesome, and I think there's just nothing more to say on that score, because just EMF speaks for itself. Definitely. And it is not that me and I are just saying it to gain points. It's just, it has transformed both our lives, because I've read books as a result of that. You know, it's just transformed my life incredibly since 2016.
Yeah, but knowing what I know, also, you know, I've recommended it to people, and I've sort of, you know, I could see the troubles they're going through, the same kind of thing, and I've like, you know, but like Peter says, you can be the example and the invitation, but you can't make people do anything, and that's one thing I've realised, and that gets me on to my next thing, I suppose, is the values and all that stuff that he talks about in it as well, which I didn't even know my values before any of that. I just didn't, you know, I had them, but I just didn't know what they were. Whereas now, like, one of them is that, like, one of my things previously, I used to be terrible for having to get my point of view across and get people to agree. And if they didn't agree with me, I wouldn't stop, and I'd carry on and carry on and carry on. And it was like, it's just not good. Whereas now I'm just like, I don't feel the need for people to agree with me. If they want to agree with me, they agree with me. If they don't, that's their point of view. And I'm just so much more like, yeah, that is a massive thing in my life that's taken away so much stress out of my life, that before, previously, I would get into so many quarrels with people or little disagreements over things because they behaved a certain way and they'd said a certain thing, and how could they behave that way, and, you know, that kind of thing. And now I'm just like, just let it go over my head, and it just doesn't bother me. But that's because of how, I can't remember which module it's in. It's in one of the later modules. I think it might be 8 or 9 maybe, where you go through all the values and you write them up.
10 and 11.
10 and 11. Okay, yeah. So module 10 and 11, where you go through all that stuff, and you, for the first time, you have to write them down. You towards values, and your away values. And I've got them on my wall. I've got my room down underneath my house, where it's like that's where I meditate. That's where I do my yoga. That's where I've got my little sageisms on the wall, and I've got my values on the wall and that kind of thing. And in the morning, that's what I do. I get up at 5:30. I go down there. I journal.
Yeah.
I do my yoga. Sometimes I do exercises if I'm not doing jujitsu. But yeah, I've got this daily routine that which for years before I did the EMF, I wanted to go to the gym before work, but I never did it. It was oh, actually no, I tell a lie. I had started going to the gym before work, maybe 6 months before, because I'd read another book from an entrepreneur and he recommended doing it.
Yeah.
And I started doing that, but I didn't meditate. In actual fact, I didn't really believe in any of that stuff. My dad has been into yoga and meditation for years, and I used to laugh at him, and I used to like be a bit like, oh, that's all too hippified for me and that kind of thing. You know, I was all a bit like that. And then yeah, now I do it, and yeah, it's hardwired into me now. It's like my daily routine is not even an option. You know, I just do it. That's it. It's like I'm up at 5:30, and that's what I'm doing. I'm doing my daily routine, and I come to work feeling great every morning. And then depending on what the day throws at me throughout the day, I can deal with everything much better, you know, than if I don't do it. And I have had a period where I have stopped doing it for a little bit of time. So I've been able to see the difference, when in actual fact, when I was in the height of getting the boat ready for the boat show and all the stuff and everything, I was carrying on doing it. But then what happened is, we got the boat to the boat show. We achieved our goals, basically, is what happened. And then I was like, okay, what I should have done is just gone on holiday straight away. I know now that if anything like that, it's almost like when you get married or a big climax, and when you come down, there's a bit of a come down from it. And what I should have done is just gone on holiday for a week, just to like recharge my batteries and you know, disconnect. And then come back, and then I could have, you know, focused again on, you know, because I still had other things to be dealing with and everything. And what sort of happened is I found I went a little bit flat because I was a little bit burnt out, and I stopped doing my daily routine, and you know, and then over the last sort of suppose 2 months, we've not been very busy with work, and it's normal for this time of year. We had a big contract that's being delayed that was supposed to start, and it's not starting, and it's not starting. So then instead of stressing about the finances and this kind of thing, again, where the EMF comes in, I'm like, okay, well, I can't do anything about it. Just use this time to relax and enjoy some quality time with my wife and that kind of thing. And then we went on holiday a couple of weeks ago, and then since I've come back off holiday, I've fully started my routine again. And I've actually got this planner, which is this was a present actually from Matteo, the business consultant, and it's from a guy called Brendan Bouchard, and it's great because it sort of gets me the morning mindset. It asks you 10 questions in a morning on it's a real good addition to. Before I was just journaling, but I had no real sort of direction as such or whatever, whereas this sort of sets me up to today's message to myself, top 3 goals or priorities I've got for the day, tasks that need to be done, and then you've got your planner. I mean, I have my planner from Peter for work as well here, where I actually have one filled out where I've got from the Sage Business School, where I have my tasks for the day, where I have to write down all my tasks and, you know, do that. But then this is my it's more personal, this journal, and it's sort of, and then you have like a daily thing, and then a weekly thing, and then you have like he basically has a thing where you have clarity, productivity, energy, influence, necessity, and courage. So it's like next level stuff as well, to sort of, you know, try and get as much value out of yourself as possible, and sort of, and then also it's invaluable when you read back on things. You know, you read back on it and you look at it, and you get a lot of value from it, because you're like, wow, okay, there's patterns forming here. Hang on a minute, this is, you start to understand yourself a lot better. It's sort of, yeah.
That is true. That is true.
Yeah.
So when you're journaling, is the gratitude diary?
The gratitude, you know what, I sort of did that for a while. I did the gratitude, what I call my like list, and then I've gone away from that now, where I was finding it was becoming a list ticking exercise. So I sort of, instead I think of really great thoughts, of stuff, and I tend to do it before I go to sleep. Actually, is when I do that. For me, when I can't get to sleep at night, I start to think about like an amazing holiday, or the relationship I got with my wife, or something that I'm just really grateful for, and it sort of, that I find it helps me wake up in a good mood as well when I do that. So it's sort of like, I did it for a while on my phone. I was like putting it on my phone and listing it, and occasionally I will go back through it and go, oh wow, yeah, if I'm feeling a bit glum or a bit down, I'll go back through it. But I've just got into the routine that in the evening, that's what I do. I sort of think of like really, or even the mind movie thing, or also the my Instagram page. I look at my Instagram page, and instantly it makes me feel happy because it's all good things. It's happy memories, and it's like that. So I feel I get that gratitude from that without having to write a list, if you know what I mean. It's sort of like I get that from the photographs and from the memories and that kind of thing. So yeah, I get my my fix of gratitude from that, I suppose. Yeah.
That's amazing. And your wow moments as well?
My wow moments.
You have a list on those?
Okay, wow moments. Does he call it something else as well? There's yes, magic moments. The magic moments. Magic moments. Yes. To be honest, I find these two, they sort of intertwined a little bit together. You know what I mean? A lot of my wow moments are my things that I've got to be grateful for, like the magic moments. But yeah, I had a list of magic moments that I used to keep, but then I started to get to the stage where I was like, okay, this is becoming like I said, a list ticking exercise, and I'm not actually getting the most out of it. What its purpose is supposed to be about, which is to be like, wow, gratitude, wow, that was amazing, that kind of thing. But I found just how my general, how I am now, I get that all the time. I'll be driving home from work and I'll have a moment where I'm like, gosh, that was amazing, or that was so grateful. Or, music does it for me. I listen to music, I get the wow, you remember that sort of thing. So without just writing them down as a list, I've found, for me personally, I prefer like looking at photographs, listening to music, and it brings back memories. And then when I go to bed, I sort of think about that kind of thing. So yeah.
That's awesome. And your mind movie, did you make one from 2019 and keep updating it and watching it every day?
No, I don't watch it every day. No. I'll be honest, when with my routine, and like, I know he goes on about the time thing, but I'm like, I get up at 5:30, I go down to my room, I meditate, I journal, do yoga, do some kind of exercise or jiu-jitsu in the morning. Then I find I'm like, right, okay, I get to work, and then I'm busy with work. Then I get home, then I go to jiu-jitsu again at home, and then I'll come home, I'll have dinner, and then I'm in bed by 10 o'clock probably, because I'm up at 5:30. So it's like I literally feel like I'm getting as much out of the day as I possibly can, kind of thing, without I actually have the boat in the water, and I've kept the boat, and it's my boat to use personally. And yeah, so the plan was to sell the boat, and at the moment we've been using the boat to promote the business, marketing, all that kind of stuff, and we've been chartering it out also to get some revenue back from it. But then I also get the good thing of being able to use having a boat here in Mallorca and appreciating this lovely island. So
which is awesome. So when you first started the Mind movie after the Sage Business School, or when you were part of the EMF program when you started it, did you feel that it actually transformed your life more when you first did it and followed it and then
it definitely gives you a massive boost for sure. When I watch it, I get like a massive boost. We had a lot of big goals this last 12 months. We've achieved the two main ones, but there's still, like, I've still got to, like, now what it is we've made these products, a range of super yacht products that we designed them, we've made them and prototyped them, given them to clients to use, so that then we're getting the feedback from them. And now the next phase is, then I've been collecting marketable, I suppose, material like photographs, video, all this kind of stuff. And now the next part of the process is to use that content that we have to basically to market these products to a much wider audience. But yeah, so that's over the next sort of 6 to 12 months, we're updating the website, doing that, a new website, and then also I mean, we also did a lot like video, social media campaigns, all this kind of stuff. So yeah, it's and also this period of the year now is the busiest period for work for us, because all the yachts here in Mallorca, they're getting all work done. It's the refit season, so that kind of thing. But I just feel like this year, I like I said, I should have gone on holiday after the boat show. I was feeling a little bit burnt out, if I'm being honest, from emotionally burnt out as well. I think from all the COVID stuff as well, not seeing friends, not seeing family. I mean, I've still not been back to the UK for 3 years. We're coming back at Christmas now. So, you know, all this stuff that, you know, I think everyone's been dealing with it, but everyone, you know, sort of, and although the business stuff has been great to sort of focus on and and all that, you know, I just got to a stage where I was like, okay, I'm emotionally done, kind of thing. And I'm just starting to pick back up on things. And to be honest, one of the things I have thought about is definitely reconnecting more with the EMF stuff, for sure, but not just on listening to Peter's recordings and all that stuff, but actually being a bit more involved in the Illumina group, that kind of thing. And yeah, but I've got a busy few months ahead just with the company stuff. It's just that, like, yeah,
which is grand. And also, so basically on that is, I guess, drawing back on your list of away values towards values. So perhaps that's something you need to look at, refocusing what are your away values and what your number one. And
no, for sure, definitely, reevaluate for sure. And yes,
and go to it. And Laura, your wife?
Yeah.
So is she also done EMF, or she's learned through you?
Exactly that. Yeah, it's funny actually. She's learned from me. Like pretty much every single live call I was on, Laura was always there. You know, in the cooking in the kitchen, because I was like in the kitchen doing the calls with everyone, that kind of thing. So she is like listening, and it was funny because, like, to start with, she was a little bit sort of. I think she felt a little bit, maybe a bit threatened by because then, you know, Peter goes on, like some of his talks, he was going on about people leaving their partners because they realize that they're, you know, they're not the partner for them, and, you know, this kind of thing and all that. So I think to start with, she was a little bit like, oh no, he's gonna, you know, is he gonna leave me or something like that kind of thing? He's gonna have this, like, he's gonna completely change, and then he's gonna get some young girlfriend or whatever, or, you know, that kind of thing. So I think to start with, there's a slight bit of resistance there. But then I think as the more she heard Peter speak, and the more she heard how genuine he is, and how he sort of, you know, he's the first one to sort of criticize himself, or, you know, analyze himself, or why he's done this and and, you know, all that kind of stuff. And I think also because Peter's not married and he's not got kids and everything, I think she was a little bit like, oh, what's he going to be teaching, kind of thing, you know. But then as she heard it all, she's like, yeah, she loves it, and she just sees what it's done to me, you know, and how it's changed me, you know, as a person. I'm so much more easier to live with now than I was previously, you know. I'm sort of, I'm not wound up. I'm not aggressive. I'm not that I was aggressive before, but, you know, when you're stressed, you sort of, you might be a bit short with her, or because you've got something else on your mind, and then you start taking out of other people, and you know, that kind of thing. There's none of that anymore. I'm sort of like, it's So no, yeah. So she has, in a way, she hasn't done it to the extent that I've done it, like all the homework and you know, all the different exercises, but she's certainly heard a lot of the stuff. Yeah.
And so did either of you follow the juice master juicing regime?
You know what? That's one thing that I will say that no, I haven't. And I'll be honest, we are really healthy anyway. And that's one thing that I like. I think some people, like, health has always been high on my list of values since I've been young. So when it comes to fitness, training, all that kind of stuff, no disrespect to Peter, but a lot of the stuff, he wasn't telling me anything that I didn't already know. You know, with a lot of that side of it. That's the side of it that I'm like, I might not probably know just as much as Peter, but I'm not far off when it comes to all that about diet and everything. I mean, already I do, you know, I'll have periods, I'll do intermittent fasting, I'll do, like this morning I had a ginger, carrot, apple, celery juice. And then during the week, we're vegetarian. We only eat vegetarian food Monday to Friday. We don't drink any alcohol Monday to Friday. Then on a weekend, if I feel like I want to have a piece of meat, I'll have like a nice piece of steak or a nice piece of fish or something. And I love cooking. I've been into cooking for 20 odd years. I learned to cook when I was like 18 because I was working away and I really like good food. So that for me, my health and exercise and all that's like, when it comes to my list of values, it's up here. You know, it's high on my agenda. Yeah.
Awesome. So any advice that you would like to leave would-be EMFers all about life's journey, really?
Sign up, do it. Basically, don't hesitate. Yeah, don't hesitate. It'll be you won't regret it, and it will be a life-changing experience that you can't put a price on it. Basically, is the best way to describe it. Feeling as good as what I feel most days is priceless. It really is. And just the whole outlook on life thing, how you how it affects everything. It affects the people around you. You help other people. You know all the contribution factor to things and all that. And once you start to understand that growth and contribution are the two things that are going to make me feel good, and then a good diet and exercise and you know, and putting myself out of my comfort zone, all that stuff, a combination, and your life becomes like that. Then your peer group as well to raise your standards. It's just the whole package of it all together. It's like, yeah, it's funny. Like he's a lot of people. He's like one of those, like, I would have been cynical before and been like, why is that person always so happy? Why are they always so, what's wrong with them? Like, kind of thing. Why are they like that? I want to be like that. You know, you want to feel like that. Mm-hmm. And when you understand, it's just it's all down to you, and it all comes back to you, and changing who you are. Then it's like, wow, okay. And then, yeah, it just gives me a thirst for more, really, to be honest. And yeah. I also feel like I had this conversation today with this the marketing guy, who, in actual fact, the reason I have hit it off so well with this guy is he has done a lot of Tony Robbins stuff. Well, obviously, a lot of Peter's teachings, they are like Tony Robbins. You know, Tony Robbins is in there. He was one of Peter's mentors. So a lot of the stuff you know, and he's done a lot of that. So straight away, I met the guy. I could see straight away his high consciousness. We had a really great conversation, really good chat, you know. And it's like, and then he was going on about today, talking. He said he went through a phase where he's almost done too much learning and not put it in. I feel like you need to do what the way I'm looking at it is, I want to do learning, but I also want to put it to the test. I want to see if it works. I want to put it into everyday use, practicality. Then once I know it works, which I do 100% know now, then like, right now I'm ready to learn some more. Now I'm ready to learn a little bit more and to progress different things. But it's the way it's sort of wired me as a person. That's what I do now. I'm like constantly reading books, constantly looking. I don't sit watching TV, looking at all that sort of mind. You know, I barely can sit and watch a movie now. You know, I have to sort of really like, right, I've got to sit down and watch this and sort of try and sort of relax, because I'm always just sort of constantly, my mind is going, and what can I be learning? What can I be looking at? What can I be researching? That kind of thing. It's sort of, yeah.
Wow, that is amazing. And were you like that before Peter's age, or you were able to sit and watch it before? And
yeah,
you are now.
I think I have got an addictive personality for sure. And what it's made me realize is I have got an addictive personality, and I know how to channel it. So I channel it in the right ways now. Awesome. Luckily, I've never had problems with alcohol and drugs and all that, you know, that kind of stuff. But I could have easily gone down that route, kind of thing. And it's just so, but at least now I understand who I am, what makes me who I am, why I do what I'm doing, all this kind of stuff. So it makes it so much easier for me to go, on a Friday, what am I doing? I'm going to go to the gym with the guys training, or am I going to sit and have a load of beers with the guys and or whatever. I'm sort of like, it's making me go, right, okay. Just my choices are just it makes me run things through much more, I suppose, better really than thinking about things properly than just, you know, before I was a lot more spontaneous doing things, and then thinking afterwards, like, oh, why did I do that? What was I thinking? You know, I'm sort of, now I'll sort of process everything, what could happen, what the outcome could be, and all this kind of stuff. And I'm like, and that's all from,
The EMF, amazing. And also, just to round off, really, we shouldn't forget your mascots who have inspired your business, and also your workers to do this awesome work. You have currently 5 cats who are your mascots.
Six cats, yeah. So we've got basically 3 here at the workshop, and we have 3 at home, and they're all stray cats basically that we've homed. And my so what happened is we had one cat to start with, Pedro. It was from a little kitten, and he was basically we got him off the streets. And what had happened is my wife had been going on about having a cat before this, and I was a little bit dubious because I'm a dog person and I've always had dogs, and I'm like, I don't know if I want to have cats. And then she wouldn't stop going on about it, but secretly she was feeding this other stray cat, and I didn't know about it. So
Oi, Lucci.
She was enticing this cat, and he was coming, but you couldn't never go anywhere near him, and he was really reluctant to come anywhere near us. So then what happened is, when we brought this little kitten home, the cat we'd been feeding, he basically saw that we had this cat, and he's like, wow, okay, so they're nice to cats and all that. And then the next thing, one evening we were just in the garden, we're eating dinner, and I felt something brushing under around my legs, and I was like, oh, it's the little kitten, Pedro. And I was like, no, he's over there, what's going on? And then I look, and I'm like, oh wow, it's the stray cat, he's like underneath. So then I started stroking him, and then he wanted a bit more attention, and it was like, and then the next thing, he just moved in with us, and it was like, and then this is going back like 6 years ago now. So we had 2 cats, and then we had a load of stray cats here at work, and then basically one of the strays had a litter of kittens, which we've rehomed probably 6 or 7 last year. Like, we found homes for them and all as well. Wow. And basically one of the I suppose you call it the runt of the litter, she was dying, and my wife saw that, and we were like, so we took her home, and my wife was feeding her with a syringe with like water and I suppose like little vitamins and nutrients and everything. And we took her to the vets, and the vet said, that cat's not going to survive the weekend. She's going to die. And lo and behold, she didn't die. She survived, and then she, carried on. and now she lives with us, and she basically rules the house. Basically, she is and her name is Lucha, which is it means fight in Spanish, because she was like a little fighter. And it's just hilarious to see the dynamics between the three cats now. Like, you've got the two older cats that we got, Charlie and Pedro, and they're like two brothers, really. They used to do everything together, and, you know, they've been together for years. Yeah. And then this little female cat's come in, and she's like, she's upset the thing a little bit. And and she's really playful and hyperactive, and they're, you know, and it's actually quite funny because she's made those like become more playful again, and that you can see like they're chasing her around, and she's like, you know, jumping and playing with them again, and it's just like, yeah, it's just but then she's really mischievous as well. She's one of these cats, she's a lovable rogue kind of thing, you know. She's constantly up to something or doing something she shouldn't be or whatever, and it's sort of like, in
a sense, it's like animal therapy at home and animal therapy at work for you and your workers, because you de-stress with them.
No, exactly. Like the little ones here, all the guys, they love them. They love having them around. It's sort of like, thank you very much for inviting me on. It's been an absolute pleasure. And even more so just to spread the word about EMF and Peter Sage's teachings. And if one person gets any value or any sort of insights out of this, it's been worth it, you know. So brilliant.
It's almost like raising global conscious, which is Peter's
aim. Yeah, exactly that. Yeah, no, 100%. Yeah. I'm not going to start going on about it. I was just going to start. Before we go, I'll just quickly go on about this. I can't show you because but basically outside on the wall here, I've got the Hawkins map of consciousness on the wall at work, and I've basically had I've shown the whole team the video where Peter goes on in depth about that and explains it to them.
Wow.
And we've had quite a lot of meetings related to that stuff, and a lot of the things I speak to the guys about that now is we've brought in a continuous improvement program at work where we're all continuously improving, and we have appraisals where we get graded and all that kind of stuff. But it all comes back to the map of consciousness. Like what I'm saying is to them is, look, we need to be up here. We all need to be willing to learn, to better ourselves, to become a better version of ourselves. If we're all calibrating up here, all our lives are going to be so much better, so much easier. We're going to get so much out of life. If we're down here, and, you know, so to start with, I had a little bit, I could see like some of the older guys are like looking at me going, oh, what's he going on about? He's American rubbish kind of thing, you know, that sort of thing. But no, they've actually, they're all on board with it, and that map of consciousness now is so invaluable. When you can take someone over to that and start to explain it to them, and they see it for the first time, and they're like, "Whoa, that's like that's a game changer."
Wow. So in a sense, you went to the Sage Business School and did the EMF. So it's just you spread the word to them, and then they obviously then are spreading it to their families. So this is amazing. You just spread the web.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Oh, God.
Oi. Oi. Lucci.